All right. Court is now in session. Gentleman Brantley S. Jr. is now presiding.
Summer Bales,
Where are you employed?
Panama City Police Department.
How long have you been with the Panama City Police Department?
July 5th will be a year with them.
What do you do with the police department?
As of right now, I am assigned to the Street Crimes Unit
How long have you been with the Street Crimes Unit?
since November 14th, 2023.
And the Street Crimes Unit, is that typically the city's narcotics unit?
Narcotics Unit and Vice Crimes. Yes, sir.
I want to take you to December 12th of 2023. Were you working on that day?
Yes, sir, I was.
At some point, did you have occasion to come in contact with the defendant, Gary Doles?
Yes, I did.
Tell us how you came in contact with him.
Myself, Sergeant McNeil now, and Investigator McQuay were conducting proactive enforcement within the city limits for traffic and narcotics. We observed a Nissan Juke, a white Nissan Juke, traveling in front of us and swerve into the oncoming lane before making a left turn onto Ninth Court, almost striking another vehicle. We initiated a traffic stop using our blue lights and sirens. All three of us made contact with Mr. Doles at his vehicle. Investigator McQuay was the initiating officer on the driver's side. I was on the passenger side. We all could smell the marijuana emitting from inside the vehicle. Mr. Doles provided his driver's license and his medical marijuana card, which his medical marijuana card was expired. He was explained that although he possesses a expired medical marijuana card, he's not allowed to be smoking while driving in his vehicle. We observed a burnt marijuana blunt inside the vehicle. After removing him from the vehicle, he was detained and his vehicle and his person was searched. A marijuana bud was found inside the vehicle, a little small marijuana, what we call a bud, in the car door. And after searching his person, McNeil located crack cocaine in his pocket of his shirt.
Now, you said McNeil found the cocaine in Mr. Doles' pocket?
Yes, sir.
Did you observe that yourself?
Yes, sir, I did.
Was that cocaine field tested on site?
Yes, sir.
Who was that? Who tested that?
McNeil turned the cocaine over to McQuay. McQuay walked over to another officer who arrived on scene, retrieved a field test kit, swabbed the cocaine, and it presented, or the white chalky substance, and it presented a positive for cocaine.
And did you observe that yourself?
Yes, sir.
Was that cocaine ultimately, or has it been sent to FDLE for further testing?
Yes, sir, it has.
And we haven't gotten the results back yet?
No, sir. Not that I know of.
And the marijuana that was found, was that found in the vehicle?
Yes, sir.
And you observed that yourself as well?
Yes, sir, I did.
Your training experience, have you had training experience with the identification of controlled substances?
Yes, sir, I have had training with
What
drug
type of
identification.
training, have you had on identifying controlled substances?
I had a 40-hour course back home in Georgia where I served 20 years in law enforcement with drug identification.
And in your 20 plus years in law enforcement, have you had occasion to come in contact with marijuana in the past?
Yes, sir, I have multiple times.
Very familiar with what
Yes,
marijuana
sir.
looks like, smells like?
Yes,
And in your training experience, were you able to say that this was marijuana in this case?
absolutely. Yes, sir.
I know you mentioned that Mr. Doles had an expired medical marijuana card. The marijuana that you found, was it in medical marijuana containers or anything?
No, sir, it was open.
I've got no further questions, John.
Yes, ma'am.
You weren't the one that stopped Mr. Doles, were you?
No, ma'am, I was seated in the rear seat.
Okay. And why was he stopped?
He was stopped for swerving into, he was traveling northbound on Bay Avenue, and he was going to, he swerved into oncoming traffic, almost striking a vehicle before he turned left onto Ninth Court.
Okay. And you said that you were on the passenger side of the vehicle?
The back seat passenger side.
Back seat passenger
But I
side?
usually kind of scoot over toward the middle of the vehicle, the back seat of the truck, so that I could see, but I usually sit behind the passenger seat.
Oh, no, I mean his vehicle.
What about his vehicle?
Were you on the passenger side of his
The passenger
vehicle?
side once I approached, yes, ma'am.
Okay. And weren't the windows closed?
They ended up rolling them down.
Okay. Who rolled them down?
I do not recall who, upon approaching the vehicle, Mr. Dole rolled the window down for Investigator McQuay.
Okay. And really, Investigator McQuay is the one that did everything, isn't he?
Not necessarily, no. We were all working together.
Okay. Did you talk to Mr. Doles?
Yeah, he was actually very, very friendly. He wasn't resisting or anything. He said that he was going to pick up a friend or something to that effect.
Did you search him?
No, ma'am, I did not.
Investigator McQuay and Investigator McNeil searched him, right?
Yes, sir, they both did,
Okay.
in my presence.
You were standing there when they were searching him?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. And he had some mint in his pocket, didn't he?
Yes, ma'am, he did.
And when they asked him about the chalky part, he said that was a part of a mint,
He
wasn't it?
did say that, yes, ma'am.
Okay. And you don't have an FDLE report saying that that's cocaine?
Not yet, not to my knowledge, no, ma'am, I do not.
Okay. And you said you were there when it was field tested?
I watched the body camera. I was there. I observed Investigator McQuay take the cocaine to the rear of the vehicle and field test it with a swab kit.
So you didn't see it in person, you saw it on body cam?
On body cam, yes, ma'am.
Okay. And did you look at his marijuana card?
Yeah, through body cam. I did not run his information or anything. I was just
Okay.
present on scene to search.
Okay. And he was let go, wasn't he?
Yes, ma'am,
Why?
because he was going to work for us.
Okay. And what happened?
He completely disregarded us and never made contact with us again.
Okay, and then you went to his house?
We issued a warrant for his arrest.
And you went to his house?
I did not. Other investigators did.
Oh, okay, you did not go to his house?
I didn't go to his house to arrest him.
Okay. Thank you, I have no further questions.
Any redirect? And witness be excused. And you may go about your day.
Thank you.
Southern may call you for next witness.
No further witnesses, Your Honor.
Mr. McCarthy?
I'm sorry, Your Honor, may I have just a minute?
Absolutely.
I'm sorry, Your Honor.
That's okay.
May I call Mr. Doles?
Mr. Doles? You can just have a seat where you're at and, or you can, that'd be the easiest. Let him have a seat where he's at.
Oh.
Raise your right hand to be sworn.
You do solemnly swear the testimony about the guilt will be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, so help you God?
Will help me.
All right.
Okay, please state your name for the record.
Gary Doze.
All right. Pull that microphone a little bit closer to him, Ms. McCarthy. Speak up just a little bit.
Gary Doze.
And where do you live, Mr. Doles? Okay, and this night, which was December 12th, were you traveling away from your residence?
Yes, I was.
Okay, and were you in your vehicle?
Yes, I was.
Okay, and you were stopped by Investigator McQuay?
Yes.
Okay. When he stopped you, what did he do? What was the first thing he did? They have you
First-
roll your window down?
When I rolled my window down, the first thing came out. I asked, what did I do wrong?
Right.
And he said, I swerved. I replied to him, I have front end problem with my car. I went around a bump on the road. After that, he opened the door and told me to get out, and he put handcuffs on me.
Right.
Now, if I would have broke the law, why did he come out putting handcuffs on me?
Okay.
Now, beyond that point, he took me to the bank.
Ask your next question, Ms. McCarthy.
And at that time, did you have a marijuana card?
Yes,
And they asked you about it?
yes.
And your card was valid
5/27.
until 5/27 of
Yes.
this year?
Of this year.
Okay. And your probation officer had a copy of that?
She got a copy.
And when they searched you, did they find some peppermints in your pocket?
Yes, they did.
Okay. And then they thought they found something else, some cocaine. Was that cocaine in your pocket?
No, that was not cocaine.
Was it a piece of the mints?
That was a piece of the mint.
And you told them that?
I told them that.
Okay. Have you ever tested positive for cocaine since you've been on probation?
No, I haven't.
Okay, thank you. I have no further questions.
Mr. Sullivan?
No questions, Your Honor.
Mr. McCarthy, your next witness?
No other witness, Your Honor.
All right, state.
Your Honor, you heard the testimony from Investigator Bales. There's the testimony is that the
Talk like this.
medical marijuana card was expired. There's been no evidence other than Mr. Dole's testimony that it wasn't expired. His possession of the marijuana in this case, violates his probation. Whether this cocaine was cocaine or not, whether it's a mint or not, it tested positive with a field test. We don't have the FDA results at this point, so whether the court buys that it's cocaine or not is really irrelevant because the possession of the marijuana itself violates Mr. Dole's supervision.
Mr. McCarthy?
Your Honor, pretty much everything that Investigator Bales talked about was hearsay. And I know there were a few things that were not, but Mr. Dole can't be convicted just on hearsay. And the truth is, Investigator McQuay was the one that did this stop and was the one that participated in all the important steps. And they don't want to bring him because he was fired.
That's not exactly true. Investigator McQuay actually wasn't even listed as a witness at all in this case. And what Detective Bales testified to wasn't hearsay. What she testified to is what she observed and what she saw.
And some of what she saw was on the body cam, that she said, which is hearsay.
Which wasn't.
Okay, Mr. Doles has been good on probation. He never tested positive for cocaine. There's no FDLE report saying that this was cocaine. The field tests are not always reliable, and we'd ask you to find them that.
Does the probation department, have you had any evidence that there was a valid marijuana card on record?
Your Honor, so I was just reading the case notes. His officer instructed him to bring it. However, he was arrested again after only reporting one other time, and there is no note to indicate he brought it.
Well, I'm gonna find based on the condition 5 on the violating the law, and I'm not going to consider the testimony about the cocaine, so we don't know at this time whether it's cocaine or not. I know we have a presumptive test, but I'm not going to consider that. But I am going to consider the testimony of the officer about the marijuana. There's no evidence he has a valid marijuana card, and I'm going to find that he willfully violated the terms and conditions of his probation.
Ain't talking.
Yes. What do you want to say, sir?
Sir, my probation officer took a copy of my card.
Okay.
The first day I got there, I handed it to her. She took a copy. Her name is Officer Massey. And Officer Massey supposed to been here today. She would have verified that and showed the copy.
Okay.
Of 5/27/24 is when it be expired. Other than that, there's no other evidence in here showing that I violated any probation.
I've already found that you willfully violated. I'm going to allow Mr. Sullivan to make any argument, and then I'll allow Mr. McCarthy to respond.
Your Honor, the state's asking for a DOC sentence in this case. With the score sheet provided to the court, Mr. Dole's scores a little over 15 months as a lowest permissible sentence. Mr. Doles is not a candidate for probation. I don't believe that the court should reinstate him to supervision. Mr. Doles has been to prison 5 times previously and has significant DOC history. So the state's asking for a DOC sentence in accordance with the lowest permissible sentence.
Ms. McCarthy?
Yeah, Mr. Doles hadn't been in trouble since 2005. He does have a misdemeanor from before this felony. And he's he's older, and this is a minor violation, and we'd ask the court to reinstate.
Or if I could just address, Mr. McCarthy said he hadn't been in trouble since 2005. I've been doing this job since 2016, and this is the third time I prosecuted Mr. Doles.
Stop talking.
All right, I am going to revoke his probation. I think he's already been adjudicated guilty, and I believe it was a tampering. Is that correct?
Yes, Your Honor.
Tampering with evidence. Sentenced him to 18 months in the Florida Department of Corrections. To be given credit for
no probable cause for the stop of the vehicle. Why is no one doing right?
sir, that's enough.
Sure, they're doing wrong. Two of them gonna do. No.
Mr. Doles, that's enough. Now, I've already told you.
You take it back to jail because you're doing right.
We're fixing to take you to prison, sir.
Oh, now you're gonna send me to prison.
Yes, sir, I am.
Deliver.
Yes, I am.
God, no.
And Your Honor, I have him calculated at 170 days credit.
Look, I want a jury trial. But I want it for the proper cause. There was no reason for stopping me.
How many days you have?
170, Your Honor.
You agree with that, Mr. McCarthy?
Yes.
He'll be given credit for 170 days time served. All fines and costs previously imposed are reduced to a civil judgment. There's an additional $250 imposed today for the cost of the prosecution of the violation of probation. That's reduced to a civil judgment. Mr. Doles, you have 30 days to file your notice of appeal if you wish to appeal your judgment and sentence. If you'd like to have an attorney to represent you, you can't afford one. One may be appointed to represent you at no charge. Good luck to you, sir. We need to have him fingerprinted. Yeah, let's set him for July, is that 18th? And if the state makes a decision, then he can roll off that document.
Working on that now.
Just take me back to jail. I'm glad. No. It's done. I ain't even got to it. I ain't even got married one. And the woman ain't even stopped me. You wrong. May the Lord get hold to you. You are wrong. You too.
Mr. Doles, I've heard just about all.
God.
I've
Stop talking.
heard all I'm gonna hear.
Get me back then.
I tell you, why don't y'all just fingerprint him at the jail? He didn't have to be in front of me. Go ahead and fingerprint him at the jail.
Oh, nothing.
Send the fingerprints back up to the court.
I ain't going through this. Y'all did me wrong. And may God get hold of you. Lord, every one of us.
All right, we can go off the record.